What up? So, before we get into the run itself, I do have a little bit of explaining to do because this is a somewhat niche category. So, one day I was on the speedrun.com looking at the Minesweeper leaderboards, and I saw that they have a separate leaderboard for Google Minesweeper, which is like their own version of the game. And they had this special category on it, which is the 100% category, which is not on the normal leaderboard. And the 100% category is doing an expert, intermediate, and beginner time, or beginner run, sorry, all in one run. You have to do all three boards in one run, and then it's the total time it takes you to do all three. And I thought this was going to be pretty easy. The current world record at the time was a 125, so all I really had to get is a sub 60 expert, sub 20 intermediate, and sub 5 beginner. And then that was a run. And I can pretty consistently do that on normal Minesweeper. But what I didn't realize is that Google Minesweeper is evil. They made it evil for some reason. So the main annoyance that I have with it probably is how they handle left clicks. So in normal Minesweeper, the click only registers when you let go of left click. So if you accidentally click on a mine, you can just move the cursor away and then let go of left click and you'll be fine. That does not work in Google Minesweeper, you just instantly die. And also, there's a lot of situations in normal Minesweeper, or I suppose in both, but specifically it works in normal Minesweeper, where I go to chord, but then I realize that nearby there's a better chord to do, and I can just move the cursor there, and then release left and right click. But that does not work in Google Minesweeper, and it makes the game a lot less lenient, and it means that you're constantly tripping over yourself, which is really annoying. They also added screen shake, which is insane. It's like the last game in the world that needed screen shake, but every time you open a board and every time you hit a mine, there's screen shake. And every time you clear a cell, there's these RNG particles that pop up, which sometimes they really go, you just get unlucky and they fucking cover where you're trying to look, and they are very distracting. Also, you don't get any of the stats that you normally get, which doesn't like technically help during the run itself, but I like looking at the stats, man, and it's fucking annoying not having them there. There is one helpful thing the game does do though, which is that the first cell you click is always a 0. So in a normal game of Minesweeper, the first cell you click is always safe, but that's it. So a lot of the time you do your first click and it gives you pretty much nothing, and you have to click a bunch more times to open up the board. However, in Google Minesweeper, the first cell being 0 guarantees that you have at least 9 clear cells at the start of each game, but almost every single time it'll have a chain reaction of zeros and it'll open up the board quite nicely. This didn't actually help as much as I thought it would with speed necessarily. For some reason it just works out that it doesn't, and also, with the other issues, it just didn't help that much. But what it does help with is it means that you can basically play every single board instead of having to hunt for a good opening like you normally do. And this was actually especially helpful in intermediate and beginner. Having a guaranteed good opening in the middle of a run is pretty helpful. But speed-wise, it didn't help nearly as much as I expected. There is also one more, unfortunately, very evil thing that the game does, and I have no fucking clue why they did this. But all of the difficulties have different cell sizes, which is so bad. It's just genuinely such a bad idea. Because, I mean, imagine sometimes you're playing for up to half an hour if it's a bad day, trying to get past expert. And either way, you're going to be way more used to expert because that's just what you're going to be playing the most if it's your first board, right? So you're used to the sizes and the distances between all the cells on the expert board in this very muscle memory and intuition based game. And then, you're on a good run and all of that goes out the fucking window because you have to switch to intermediate and it's all different. And then all of that goes out the window again because you have to go to beginner, and it's all different again, and it's really shit. It's just really fucking shit, and that on top of the, sorry, that on top of the issues with the left click and that being very awkward, it is just super fucking awkward, and you have to deal with that when you're nervous as well, because you're like halfway through a run at that point. So yeah, that really fucking sucks. Also, to put into perspective how hard this was, it took me 2 weeks to get, and halfway through, I got bored of doing it. So I wanted to see how long it would take me to do it, you know, the same time on normal Minesweeper. And I got it basically instantly. It took me one session, barely really played it. It was just very easy on like normal Minesweeper. Because it's just a better game. It's just easier to play. And it's, you know, made better. And as well, the time I got on that like one run is actually better than the world record I get in this Google Minesweeper version. So yeah, it's very fucked to play. It's super, super unsatisfying, and I'm very glad to be done. But I'm also very glad to have a world record. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the run, and I'll see you in the next video. Boom! I'm very confident that was it. I'm pretty sure I got less. I'm pretty sure I got sub 60 expert, sub 20 intermediate. Oh, so I definitely smashed it. Let's fucking go. Oh my god, I hate Google Minesweeper so much. It's so fucking annoying. I'm sure I'm gonna talk about it before the run, but holy shit, I am glad to be done with that. Boom! Thank God. Okay, let me save the recording.